and easy we have to buy it thoroughly. And the voltage will be 0.5 to 2 millivolts, the amplitude and voltage. And what is the main function of this? The cardiac axis or the electrical axis. We will discuss the electrical axis also. The electrical axis or the cardiac axis of the heart can be determined by this QRS complex. If any abnormality is there in the QRS complex, then there may be any prolonged QRS complex or the R interval can be increased. In that conditions, we have some abnormalities in the electrical axis. So, it is mainly helps to determine the electrical axis of the heart. Not only this, when we are learning about some abnormalities, we will come to know. We will add some more points, but for just to know for one function, I have to determine the cardiac axis or the vector, cardiac vector or the electrical axis of the heart. Next, T wave. Where T wave? Where is the T wave? T wave అనేది repolarization ఉందా depolarization వస్తుందా? Repolarization. Yes ma? Repolarization. You will see here. Why ventricular repolarization? Why ventricular repolarization? Again, in the ventricle, first it will take the graph. Again, it is coming to the same in the cardiac action, but the same thing will be happening here. Ventricular repolarization, duration will be 0.15 seconds and voltage will be 0.3 millivolts. Where the inverted T wave can be happen? Myocardial ischemia, MI is myocardial infarction. Yes, ma? Where there is blood clot and blood flow to the myocardium is not full, and myocardial ischemia means the oxygen supply is decreases, and ventricular hypertrophy, thickness of ventricular hypertrophy. In these conditions, the T wave can be inverted. U wave, actually U wave is not there. U wave is not there, but when we see the U wave, repolarization of the papillary muscles where we are seeing, okay? Repolarization, it won't be happening usually, and duration will be 0.08 seconds, voltage will be 0.2 millivolts. It's not seen, it's only there is seen when there is decreased hypokalemia and edema. Decrease the potassium levels. So this time that wave we can see the prominent, but here we are not seeing any prominent U wave here in the normal persons. So whenever anybody asks about the U wave, it's not seen, it's rarely seen where there is any hypokalemic and other condition, and sometimes when there is a repolarization of papillary muscles will be taking place. In these conditions, we will see the U wave. PR interval. Now we are coming to the PR interval. Where the PR interval is there? Beginning of wave. The P and Q material the PR interval. So how to check the PR interval? Beginning of the P wave to beginning of QRS complex. P, Q, R and S. Right? P, Q, R and S. You are supposed to draw now afterwards this. Okay? PR interval. It's a very, very important question, ma. ECG. They may ask you short or long, whatever it may be, they will ask you these questions. So, beginning of P wave to the beginning of the QRS complex. Yes, beginning of B wave to the beginning of the QRS complex. The P wave and QRS complex. So, what is the duration? 0.1 to 0.20 seconds, which is due to the atrial depolarization and conduction of these impulses through the AV nodes. When this PR interval can be seen, it is denoted as the beginning of the P and the beginning of the QRS, and the wave of the P and the complex of the QRS, where it has to depolarization of atria and the conduction of impulse through the AV node. This will be become more prominent, and when it will be seen in some abnormalities, gradually increases beat after beat in the Wenckebach phenomenon. This question 3 marks not there. Actually, this we will discuss in the abnormalities tomorrow. Wenckebach is one of the type of heart blocks, conduction block. We have 3 types of blocks over there. Conduction, Mobitz 1, Mobitz 2, Mobitz 3. So this is Mobitz 2, heart block. We will have separate class for this. Okay, Wenckebach phenomenon. Tomorrow we will discuss about that. What are the different heart blocks and conduction blocks. So gradually increases beat after beat, and it will be seen. This is not the regular one. This is all the other neglected. This will be the any abdomen or any other significant conditions. It will be elevated. So normally beginning of PVM and to the beginning of QRS complex, but eppudu adi increase avutundi. This duration may increase like this or like this. It may happen, depends. Atrial deprivation and conduction of impulse through the AV node, and it increases. When it increases, beat after beat, which is associated with the type of conduction block or the heart block called as Becky-Beck, right? QT interval. QT interval is beginning of Q wave to the end of T wave. Beginning of Q to the end of T wave. Beginning of Q to the end of T wave. So it is associated with the events which are present in the ventricle, particularly the repolarization and the depolarization. So QT interval is the beginning of Q wave to the end of T wave, which will be mainly associated with the depolarization and the repolarization of the ventricular events. And duration will be 0.040 and to the 43 seconds. Next one, RR interval. Very important RR interval. Actually, it determines the heart rate. How to determine the heart rate means we are taking the heart rate. There is a question for you. I will discuss about this. Calculate the heart rate. They will give the how to check the cal. So there will be two boxes. If you see the ECG strip, we have two RR intervals. RR intervals. In between we will have some boxes. So determine this is responsible to determine the heart rate. Check the heart rate. Calculate the heart rate. The heart rate will be almost 1500. The number of small space between two R waves. Between the two R waves, they have so many number of small space. So it will be determined as 1500 by number of small space. How we will discuss later, right? J point. Actually, J point. Where you can get J point? J point also here, but this one denote J point. It is the end of QRS complex and the beginning of ST segment. Where we are checking? End of QRS complex. This is ST segment, right? But in the ST segment, beginning of ST segments, end of one point, that is nothing but J point. So what it is coincides with the end of depolarization and beginning of the repolarization of ventricles. Like we already know, T wave is due to the depolarization of ventricles. So end of depolarization and beginning of repolarization of the ventricles. Ekkada end avutundamma? End of the depolarization and beginning of repolarization of the ventricles. We will see J point. Okay, it is beginning of QRS complex, I mean in between, beginning of the T wave and coinciding with the end of depolarization. So it occurs at the end of QRS complex. Mainly when in myocardial infarction, angina pectoris means the chest pain, associated chest pain, angina pectoris. E conditions low, where the person is suffering from the myocardial infarction, angina pectoris related with the chest related pains, that time this J point little bit elevated. Usually we won't denote this J point, but in these conditions we will get this elevated J point. So they may ask you why J point has what is the importance? It might be elevated, it might be shown in some of the angina pectoris as well as this myocardial infarction conditions or myocardial ischemia also. So occurs at the end of QRS complex. End of depolarization, beginning of repolarization of ventricles. That is J point. ST segment. Ekkada undi ST segment? Where it is there ST segment? ST. Yes. ST segment, right? One of the isolatory point, right? Isolatory segment, right? So ST segment between the end of S wave and the beginning of T wave. Just know what we discussed J point. End of the S wave, beginning of the T wave, the QRS complex, that means depolarization and starting of ventricular repolarization. Here, the ST segment only represents the end of S wave, QRS, and beginning of T wave. The average duration is 0.32 seconds where we already discussed that two isoelectric bands. ఇంకొకటి ఏముందమ్మా? ST segment కాకుండా ఇంకొకటి ఏంటి? What is your segment? Yeah, okay. You have, of course, apart from this, you have intervals. And here, in the myocardial infarction conditions, this ST segment might be elevated. The myocardial infarction, this ST segment might be elevated. Some disease, I mean, this where it get elevated. So segment between the end of the S wave and the starting or the initiation or beginning of the T wave will be ST segments. Now we will see what are the, I mean, what about the EC strip, what are the lines? Yeah, that is the see. These are the small lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the small box, this is the small box, and this is inside in the small box, this one is the big one. So, one small box, this one small box is 0.04 seconds. 0.04 seconds. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost. So here you can see this is 1 mm. Inside again. So I am not talking about speed. This is about speed. So it is 0.04 seconds. We go to another. This one. Now, just now we discussed about the horizontal axis. Now it is about the vertical axis. Vertical axis is voltage or amplitude. So it is 0.1. Total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0.5. 0.5 millivolts is equal to 5 mm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0.5 millivolts amplitude is equal to 5 mm. So, what about 10 mm? What about 10 mm?
0.1.
Yes, ma? 1 mm is 0.5, 5 mm is 0.5 mm. What about 10 mm? How many millivolts? 5 millivolts? 1 millivolts. So if we are taking the consideration when we are seeing the ECG, 10 should become. Actually, first 10 lines we are taking. That means 5 mm, 5 mm, 10 mm. Okay? 10 mm. 5 mm ki 0.5 millivolts అయితే 10 mm ki ఎంత?
1 millivolt.
1 millivolt. That is in the vertical axis. In the vertical axis, right? Yes, those guys, what they are doing? क्या करें? What you are doing? These two guys, 1 and 2. Yeah. So 0.5 is for millivolts means horizontal. 0.5 entama? 1 and 5. How many mm? 5 mm. Next 1 millivolts is equal to 10 mm. That is vertical axis. That is voltage and amplitude we can check. And this is horizontal where small boxes is 0.04 and total the large box will be almost 200 milliseconds, right? అర్థమవుతుందా? చిన్న చిన్న ముసుగుసులు రావడం చాలా ఈజీ. నోరు తెరిస్తే ఒక మాట రాదు మళ్ళీ. ఓకే? ఆర్ యు గెటింగ్ పాయింట్? 0.0 మీరు అనాకాలు కూడా అలాగే చేస్తున్నాడు పర్టికులర్లీ గర్ల్స్. వచ్చేదేం లేదు, పేపర్ మీద పెడితే ఏమీ రాదు. కానీ అక్కడ కూర్చొని మాత్రం ముసుగుసులు రావడం అవుతుంది. ఓకే? అన్నిటి అన్ని అంటే ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ ఎన్క్వైరింగ్ వాట్ యు ఆర్ డూయింగ్ ఇన్ ఆల్ ద డిపార్ట్మెంట్స్, ఇన్ ఆల్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ క్లాసెస్ ఆల్సో. What you did? So 0.04 seconds. Where we have seen this is horizontal axis, right? And what we have seen 0.4 and how many are there total boxes?
25.
So total. So almost 200 milliseconds will get 200. This is the horizontal axis. In the vertical, how many we have seen? 0.5 millivolts is equal to 5 mm. 1 millivolt is equal to 10 mm. Are you getting point, ma? Or you can see the vertical here. There also you can see the vertical here. Okay? So when we depict here, PR interval is in the position of where, ma? PR interval is in the position of where? That's why it is called atrial depolarization. QRS complex. Ventricles. Yes, ma'am. Ventricular what? Depolarization and atrial. Of course, it will be meshed with this atrial depolarization. So now we have seen the RR interval. We can calculate this. Again, we'll get the small lines here. RR interval. We have to calculate the heart rate. Okay. Tomorrow we'll calculate the heart rate also. The ST segment and QT intervals. We have seen here. End of repolarization and ventricular repolarization is starting here. End of depolarization. Just now we have discussed. Okay, where we are TR segment, ST segment, TR interval, ST segments, ST intervals. Okay, now horizontal. In the horizontal, I am giving more diagrams to understand. I am just what more images for you to understand that nothing is dead, everything is same. Just to make it more clear. Horizontally it is 0.04 seconds. One large box is equal to 0.20 seconds. ఎందుకు చెప్పండి మనం అనుకున్నది ఎవరు పార్ట్స్
5 into 5.
yes ma'am
25 boxes are there.
0.04 seconds 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 ఎంత మొత్తం ఎంత
25.
yes ma'am
25.
but what about 0.20 seconds how it comes 0.20 seconds 0.04 divide to divided or multiplied by 20 how much it will come then how much it will come then why it is 0.20 why it is 0.20 seconds just calculate 0.4 all how many are there
5 करा
total how many it's your turn you have to set 0.20 seconds if it comes to the milliseconds 200 milliseconds vertically one large box is 0.5 millivolts we already discussed how many mm how much mm 5 mm what about 10 mm 1 millivolts याद से पढ़ना क्लास ले लो बात ना
गुणिले 5 बोल
क्या गुणिले
into 5 है तो आता है
Okay. 1 millivolts is equal to 10 mm height difference pulse. As we are taking a vertical axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are you getting ma? 10 mm are ఎందుకు అనుకున్నాం మన vertical 10 mm 1 millivolts is equal to. So when we are seeing the ECG paper, you will come to know. Actually, normal ECG paper should be 10 millivolts, so 10 mm. So if you are seeing, you will come to know. First, you have to see what are the types of leads that we discuss now. What is the mm? So here we are discussing 1 millivolts is equal to 10 mm. That is a normal ECG paper strip. So here 1 millivolts is equal to 10 mm. That is the amplitude of the normal ECG paper. One large 5 into 5 mm into 5 mm represents 0.2 seconds. That is what we discussed 200 milliseconds and 0.5 millivolts amplitude. That what we discussed. One large box 5 into 5 is 0.2 seconds. It will give 0.2 seconds, nothing but 200 milliseconds. Amplitude is 0.5 millivolts. ఇందులో కన్ఫ్యూజ్ కావాల్సింది ఏం లేదు దీంట్లో 5 is there 1 2 3 4 5 so 5 means 0.5 millivolts only take this box leave it for this box so 5 as they have depicted 0.2 seconds that is about horizontal amplitude is nothing but what ma vertical okay just neglect this vertical lo 0.5 mb అన్నాడు 1 2 3 4 5 0.5 mb when you are taking here 10 అప్పుడు ఎంత అవుతుంది
1
simple 1 m okay
okay
as they have already depicted 5 into 5 box represents 0.2 seconds if we convert into the milliseconds it is 200 milliseconds so the voltage for this is 0.5 millivolts if it is going for the 10 small boxes 10 mm height then it is 1 millivolt ఇప్పుడు ఈ height ఎంత ఈ హైట్ ఎంత హైట్ 10 mm హైట్ ఉంటే ఈ హైట్ ఎంత 5 mm హైట్ రైట్ కన్ఫ్యూజ్ నోట్ టు కన్ఫ్యూజ్ రైట్ ఓకే 5 mm is to 5 mm height is for 0.5 millivolts of voltage or amplitude 10 mm height is to 1 millivolt of millivolts of voltage or amplitude on which axis vertical axis horizontal will be 0.200 milliseconds and 0.2 seconds sorry 4 seconds next speed so how to calculate we have different speeds of the ECG paper 25 millimeters per seconds 50 millimeters per seconds so 25 millimeters just so why 25 why not 50 why 25 why not 50
ये क्यों पूछ रही हो सॉरी
usually 25 millimeters per second will be taken as normal why it is taken as normal ma if the speed is